Lyrically, Upside Down is about manipulation of one mind over another. I recently watched a documentary on cults and just how they behave, and it fascinated me that one person could have that much control over another. So basically that's what the song's about, is just having control over somebody else, get them to believe what you believe, think what you think, etc., etc. The first riff for this song was written by Joe Kostoff, who did actually all the guitars on this song. It's the main verse riff, and then from there we just got together and pieced the rest of the song together. So yeah, initially definitely Joe come up with the musical idea for this one. When we first started working on this song, the idea was to have a real early kind of Sabbath vibe, sort of around the Volume 4 era. Obviously not to directly rip that off or anything, but that was the kind of vibe we were after. So initially it was just coming up with that first riff, which we did, and then working it from there.
I guess this is where I come in. When I was asked to work on this project, all the songs were completely fleshed out already and in really solid working order. I mean, they sounded awesome already without my input. In terms of arrangement, all the hard work was already done, so it was just a matter of me working on my parts and just recording them. From my perspective, none of the arrangements needed to be changed. The songs sounded amazing from the first time I heard them, and I was actually really blown away because they just sounded great. And I really liked the musical direction and the style. I really liked the simplicity and the retro nature of the project. It just sounded great to my ears. I was basically drip-fed one or two songs at a time, and from memory, Upside Down was not the first, if I remember correctly. It was probably the third or fourth song that I worked on. By the time this song reached me, I was pretty confident with regards to what this project sort of required from me in terms of musical input and sounds. I remember being a little shaky early on, but that feeling of apprehension began to disappear, I suppose, as time went on, and I just became more comfortable with the whole thing. I do remember at the time thinking that every song up until this point was an absolute winner, and if that sort of quality continued, we'd have a really strong batch of songs on our hands. So look, coming in at the end of the writing process and just putting the cherry on top, so to speak, is pretty much how this all came together for me.
There weren't any great challenges with this song. It's kind of a basic, straight ahead type of song. The only thing we really did was changed a few things, like the ending was different. It did have a long, slow fade out with the solo bit. It didn't just didn't work in the end. So yeah, so we changed the end of this song. Yeah, that's what you hear now.
For me, this song didn't really give me any drama at all. In fact, most of the songs in this current batch were an absolute joy to work on. I mean, I've had times in the past where things didn't go so smoothly, where the writing process was bogged down and it turned into a bit of a nightmare. But this went smoothly, and it was a complete opposite to some of my past sort of experiences. I actually can't remember having a better time writing music, to be honest. It was just fun right from the start. Everything seemed to flow nicely. Sound choices seemed to come naturally, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes it can be a real drama, just finding the right sounds for each song. But all sort of came together really well. Sound choices seemed to really flow, and there were a few little changes here and there that needed to happen. But other than that, everything came together well. From my perspective, there was no dramas at all.
Yeah, look, I feel the song has turned out pretty well. There's not a lot more that I would have done with it. You know, there's always something that you, looking back, you'd probably change if you did it again. But that's like any song, really. You're never going to be 100% happy with everything. But as a whole, look, I'm fairly satisfied with this one, and happy for you guys to hear it.
I think the song turned out great. I couldn't be happier with the end result. I think the decisions made early on to keep these songs simpler and uncomplicated were an absolute breath of fresh air, in my opinion. There just seemed to be more space in the music and in the mix for everyone to work in. All the musical ideas are deliberately restrained, but when it all comes together, there's still plenty of things happening that keep each song pretty interesting, in my opinion. When I first heard each of the songs, the thing that really stood out to me was the slightly retro vibe that was going on, and I really liked that. It made a lot of sense to me. I really like that element in the music that spoke to me. And to be honest, I'm just happy to have been involved in making this music, and especially music of this quality and nature. I think that's about it from me. Hopefully we'll continue putting out these making of videos, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right. Until then, see ya.